Good evening. My name is Joe Guglielmo, and I am privileged to serve as the Dean of the University of California, San Francisco School of Pharmacy. On behalf of our faculty, staff, residents, and alumni, I welcome you to a joyous celebration of the four-year journey of the class of 2020. This is not what any of us expected or planned. As the pandemic took hold last spring, so many aspects of our lives changed. For this graduating class, your final days of clinical rotations and plans to gather in May to celebrate one another and your collective accomplishments were upended. Yet, you were hopeful. This class, determined to gather together with one another, our faculty, and most importantly, family, friends, and loved ones, but decided to wait. In time, we assumed the pandemic would be under control and your commencement ceremony could proceed as all of us had planned. That was not to be. This health crisis, which has affected each of us and cost so many lives, is far from over. Yet, there are so many signs of hope. Hope in the form of dedicated frontline healthcare workers, physicians, nurses, pharmacists, scientists, and the stories of so many courageous citizens who are doing their part to serve others and heed the calls of public health officials to contain the spread of this virus. And significantly, hope in the form of new, passionate members of the healthcare profession and pharmacy in particular, exemplified no better than by the class of 2020, who bring its expertise, commitment, and leadership to a society and world that needs you more now than ever. This evening, we celebrate each of these distinguished graduates, perhaps not in the way we planned, yet I believe we do so with even more pride and respect for each of the members of this exemplary class, the UCSF School of Pharmacy Class of 2020. While each of you in the class touched the lives of your classmates, you also profoundly influenced those of us privileged to work with you. As we celebrate your commencement this evening, we are inspired by your respect for others and passion to serve, your ability to address life challenges, your potential to shape healthcare. We chose each of you, and you chose us, 126 bright lights who would clearly bring something unique to the school and the profession. We also wanted diversity, and we most certainly got that. This class is beautifully diverse. A quarter of you were born outside the U.S., Argentina, Armenia, Cambodia, Canada, China, India, Iran, Japan, Nigeria, Pakistan, Taiwan, Uzbekistan, and Vietnam. You have rich life and multicultural experiences that will enrich our profession. You came to us as students, entrepreneurs, salespeople, teachers, researchers, and dreamers. Your talents are vast. Musicians, artists, athletes, activists, translators, writers, experts in martial arts, coaches, and mentors. Your loves include chemistry and poetry, fashion and the outdoors, literature and art. You include among your ranks veterans and members of the National Guard. For several of you, your experience was shaped as children from proud military families. Many of you were inspired to make a difference in healthcare through service to your community. You served in medical brigades in war-torn and underdeveloped countries. You helped the homeless and disadvantaged. You served as camp counselors and church leaders. You served others as literacy volunteers, medical translators, and elementary school aides. You addressed domestic violence and sexual assault, homelessness and hunger. You serve the needs of orphans and veterans. For some of you, the time before and during pharmacy school allowed you to reconnect with your culture and ethnic heritage. Some of you are second-generation pharmacists. A quarter of you are the first in your family to earn a college degree. You are refugees and sons and daughters of immigrants for whom your success represents your family's dream. Several of you are parents. Your children inspire your ambition, determination, and drive. You have in turn inspired us as you balance the unique demands of school and parenthood. Class of 2020, you came to us guided by your drive, determination, empathy, vision, faith, and desire to heal. Many of you have endured great hardship, including economic and social challenges, addiction, health issues, and devastating loss. You have been raised in large families and by single parents, brothers, sisters, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. You have witnessed how language and economic barriers affected access to health care for you and your loved ones. You are driven by gratitude for the sacrifices of others that paved your way. Under circumstances when many would retreat, you doubled down and pressed forward. During your 4 years as student pharmacist, you touched countless members of our community and outreach projects. You have been advocates for causes you believe in and people you may never meet. You have experienced the exhilaration of accomplishment as well as the pain of illness and loss. You reflected on what it means to be different, your desire to break down barriers, open doors, go against the norm. You were drawn to San Francisco as a place where being different is the rule. In fact, being different is refreshingly expected. You have consistently demonstrated empathy for others, the beauty of friendship and family, and support in the most difficult of times. You have excelled in every way. All that said, let's consider all of those who have joined us for this virtual celebration. There are hundreds celebrating you. Joining us are mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, partners, wives, husband, children, grandparents, other relatives, and friends. And there are many of your supporters joining us from all over the world who may not otherwise have been able to participate. If there's one thing each member of this class realizes, it's that no one reaches this day completely on their own. Each graduate has received a UCSF School of Pharmacy graduation stole, a gift from us to signify this life achievement. Graduates have been invited to give this stole to someone they want to thank for making this milestone possible. Members of the class of 2020, if you have yet to present your stole, please feel free to do so now. I don't know if you remember, at your white coat ceremony, I asked you to do something. Today, more than 4 years later, I will ask you to do it again. Class of 2020, please stand to honor the people who have been there for you through thick and thin, your family, your friends, your mentors, and advocates. Please thank them. Class of 2020, in the eyes of the staff and faculty, you've been a special class that has left a positive imprint on the school and the profession. You were a close-knit group generously supporting each other. You were full of heart, engaged, and it was a delight to watch you grow. We will remember you for your generosity of spirit, sense of responsibility, commitment to service, and professionalism. And at this time, it's also important to reflect upon our recent November election. One obvious outcome of the election is the reaffirmation that we are a divided nation, each side finding incomprehensible how and why the other side thinks the way that they do. We need to mend this division. It will take individuals from this class to continue their empathetic, responsible, respectful ways of reaching out to others, doing your part to heal the nation. The class of 2020 chose 2 members to serve as class speakers for commencement. The first speaker is Dr. Jessica Lee. A BS in biology from UCLA, she describes growing up in a nurturing environment that fueled her desire to explore the world. Music, specifically piano, has always been a huge part of her life. At UCSF, she was actively involved as an orientation leader, class officer, coordinator for the Science Squad Outreach Initiative, and vice president of the Associated Students of the School of Pharmacy, in addition to her internship and service on school committees. Jessica said the following in her application to UCSF. I am intrigued by other people's stories, their influences and aspiration. This has driven me to be more open-minded and empathetic toward others. I am driven to learn from new experiences, cultures, and perspectives. I see the importance of supporting one another and finding opportunities to move forward and strive to meet challenges with perseverance and camaraderie. Jessica is currently completing a pharmacy practice residency at the University of Washington. I look forward to Dr. Lee's comments.
Good evening, faculty, guests, and most importantly, UCSF Class of 2020. Although we cannot hug, laugh, or cry together, I am grateful that we're still able to reunite today. It's been over a year since we were all in HSW hunched over those tiny desks taking that last therapeutics final, and it's been months since we officially graduated at our respective sites. In the next few minutes, I hope to walk us through some of the experiences that define pharmacy school. Let me start by mentioning some of the challenges we had, especially during the infamous P2 year. I can only remember studying infinite details and feeling that 24 hours was never enough in a day. But what really shined through was our resilience and support for one another. I think back to those dreaded walks to and from Hearst in the S rooms after studying, then being pummeled by exams week after week. On top of that, we have work, planning student events, volunteering, and multiple meetings. But it was more than those responsibilities. It wasn't hard because we were full-time students, but because we aren't just students. Everyone had their own battles, whether it was health, relationships, family, loss, homesickness, or burnout. But together we took on those challenges. There were so many study guides, thank you Kathy Lay, mnemonics, and reminders shared among the class. And within these moments, there are a few things that only we would know at UCSF. We had the free food and that delicious Moffitt breakfast. We had the Dr. Fulton's metabolic map, which we were reminded of at our May graduation. The fact that we memorized that entire poster and learned all those pathways seems impossible to me today. And during physiology, we were always greeted by a motivational email from Dr. Mitrovich the night before every exam telling us it's time to put away our notes and go to sleep. We shared that impending fear during Dr. Shin's lectures of being randomly called on to answer a question out loud in front of everyone. But at least we had a sweet end of the year when the class cabinet gifted Dr. Shin a delicious pecan roll from Arsmendi. And now when a physician turns to me and asks, "What antibiotic covers this?" I picture those flower diagrams from Dr. McDougall's class. So we survived all that, but our professors also survived too. They braced themselves for our incessant questions online and in person. And I don't know what it's like, but I don't imagine it to be fun to be discussing answers 2 minutes after exam with over 100 sleep-deprived students. And despite all that, there were some good times too. Our class knew how to have fun and have some work-life balance. I may not remember every structure I studied, but I do remember sharing snacks at Home Cafe and Phil's, ordering boba together, and the endless memes in our group chat. There were the annual Tahoe trips when we would escape to the mountains for snow, the iconic cabin food pasta, and getting time to spend together outside Parnassus. And even as a Bay Area native, I was able to explore new places with all of you. We connected over local brunch spots like Sweet Maple and Plow, had Byrite while relaxing in Dolores Park, or sangria and s'mores at Spark Social. And we went to shows together at Bill Graham or Regency, and then museums like Academy of Sciences and Exploratorium. I can always count on my classmates to find adventure during pharmacy school and to be there if I needed to vent or to celebrate. I think back to those last moments together at SF in P3 year, when we had our send-off at Emporium and our bar crawl hosted by the class cabinet to Yancey's, Social Brewery, and Corner Spot. It was a bittersweet end, and it made me realize that we really create our home here in San Francisco. We built a community. The camaraderie continued even after we separated, such as rare moments during our fourth year, We went to CSHP in Anaheim and ASHP in Vegas. And although we had the looming stress of post-graduation, we celebrated these moments together. And even after we graduated, UCSF was still there for us. Quarantine brought a different type of anxiety, but Osaka updated us regularly with licensure. Cindy, a watchmaker, talked to the Board of Pharmacy, and our classmates posted information on the group chat. The highlight was our Zoom graduation, hosted by our wonderful P4 class cabinet, Tiffany, JC, Andrea, and Ashley. We watched a fantastic video by Neela and witnessed a skilled bagpipe performance from Dr. McDougall. Our faculty donned their caps and gowns in support, and although it was short, the encouragement of the faculty and classmates throughout the ceremony reminded me again of the UCSF community. For these last few moments, I'd like to thank everyone who has made pharmacy school worth it. To family and friends, thank you for your never-ending support when we were at our best and our worst. To the faculty, thank you for volunteering your time to our development as our advisors, our preceptors, and our mentors. And to my classmates, I hope that when you reflect back to UCSF, you don't think of just the struggles, but also the good times too. I've enjoyed getting to know all of you, and you are resilient, passionate, enthusiastic, and I'm excited to see where you go. Hopefully we can share an elbow bump in the future, but for now, I hope you can take today to celebrate your accomplishments. Thank you, UCSF, and thank you, Class of 2020.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. This evening's second student speaker is Dr. Laurene Atala. Grew up in the Bay Area and completed her undergraduate degree at UC Berkeley. She describes herself as having a curious nature. She is passionate for the arts and for science, which she views as intertwined and essential. She epitomized a commitment to leadership and service while at UCSF. She was president and internal vice president of the Graduate and Professional Student Association at UCSF, project coordinator for the Homeless Clinic and Operation Diabetes, a pharmacy volunteer at the Mabuhay Health Center. She is a natural disaster responder with the Medical Reserve Corps, involved in response to several devastating fires in the San Francisco Bay Area. In her application for admission, she stated, "As a pharmacist, I hope to be able to maintain a perpetual sense of curiosity and passion for discovery and to constantly integrate a sense of humanism into my work. My dedication to this field never wanes, as each day brings new and exciting experiences. Some are more challenging than others, but always educational." Laurene is currently a full-time clinical pharmacist at Healdsburg District Hospital, leading the Antimicrobial Stewardship Division. Dr. Atala.
Hello and welcome, classmates, friends, and family, to the UCSF Class of 2020 half-year reunion. While yes, this is our graduation ceremony, I'd like to think of it as our first class reunion as well. I know those are typically reserved for the 1 or 5 year mark, but really, it feels like it's been at least 100 years since we graduated this spring. I promise not to use the term unprecedented times, but this has truly been a year like no other. My original graduation speech, written for a different place and time, touched upon the themes of promise and anticipation as we stood on the precipice of launching our professional careers, about being perhaps a little uncertain, but nonetheless excited and ready to take on what may come. And here we are now, months later, and that uncertainty is slowly being chipped away to reveal confidence as we continue to learn and grow. What's next for you after graduation? That used to be a pretty scary question, but this is what's next. We're out here doing it. We may be halfway through residency or fellowships for some, a few weeks or months into our professional careers for others, or still working on discovering our paths. And that's okay, because we've got this. We're out here learning, doing, and teaching. UCSF has taught us so much, and now it's our turn to go out into the world and be the ones pioneering and innovating. Pharmacists aren't limited to just behind the counter. We're integrating into health systems, creating new roles, and taking patient care to new levels. It's not just about counting and counseling. It's about entrepreneurship, innovation, and advocacy as well. It's hard to think about graduating and entering the field of healthcare right now as a privilege when we're entering into the most challenging times of healthcare practice in recent times. However, I do feel privileged to have attended and now graduated from UCSF. As doctors of pharmacy, we now have the opportunity to directly confront the biggest healthcare challenge posed to the world in the modern era. And as graduates of UCSF, we're well equipped with the training we need to do just that. The last 4 years have given us a metaphorical medicine cabinet of skills that we need to take on what lies ahead. Throughout our lifetimes, pharmacy practice will continue to grow and evolve, and now we have the tools to evolve alongside it. Going forth boldly, embracing the uncertainty, and tackling challenges head-on. It's a remarkable time, and a time for remarkable people. The people that we had the privilege to work alongside, the people that we studied under, have shaped us into the strong, capable healthcare providers that we are becoming today. To the class of 2020, we've got just a few days left of our namesake year, and we've made the best of it, all the highs and lows, the peaks and troughs, Fanco and otherwise. Into 2021 and beyond, we carry with us the strength, resiliency, and teamwork that helped get us through 2020. The years will go on, and soon this whole year will just become a story we share with future classes to come. But for better or for worse, we'll always have a piece of 2020 in our hearts and on our walls. But of course, we didn't do this alone. To all the friends, family members, and partners watching today, thank you. You've guided, supported, and encouraged us across the years. Heartfelt thanks to our professors and mentors and the Osaka team as well, who aided in our personal and professional development. I'd also like to acknowledge my personal support team. Mom, Dad, you've heard this 1,000 times, but 1,000 will never be enough. Thank you. Many thanks to my siblings as well for all the help and advice they've given me, especially my sister, who was always there to answer my immunology questions at 2 a.m. the night before the exam, even as she was finishing her own PhD. Last, but certainly not least, thank you to my wonderful classmates. We've shared 4 fantastic years together, and while I'd love for us to be together right now, I know you are all out there doing amazing things, and I look forward to seeing where your paths take you. You are all incredible, amazing, outstanding, inspiring people, and I have so much hope for the future of healthcare, knowing that it's in your capable hands. We've persevered through some difficult times and have found that there are no limits to what we can do. We've seen the adaptability of our profession in taking on new roles, and I'm looking forward to all of our class reunions in the future, hopefully non-virtual, to see all of the new ways that my peers have developed themselves and the profession. While we may not know what the future holds, we know that we hold the future. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Atala. Every year, we choose an exceptional individual to deliver the centerpiece address of the commencement ceremony. Speakers all have one characteristic in common: a professional life filled with noteworthy, meaningful accomplishments. We look for someone who can inspire. I can guarantee you this is abundantly true for this evening's speaker, selected by the class of 2020, Dr. Donald Kishi. A member of the class of 1968, Dr. Kishi has been a distinguished educator, a dedicated practitioner, endowed with a deep passion to help others. Shortly after graduation, Dr. Kishi joined the small group of UCSF faculty who pioneered, advocated, and advanced the practice of clinical pharmacy both at UCSF and eventually around the world. He served the class of 2020 as a clinical professor and associate dean for student and curricular affairs, in which he earned the love and respect of students. Dr. Kishi retired this year after more than 50 years associated with the School of Pharmacy and now holds the distinction of Professor Emeritus. With the Department of Clinical Pharmacy, he served in many roles including Vice Chair, Director of the Residency Program, and Associate Director of Pharmaceutical Services. Don has a distinguished record of leadership service, which includes President of the California Society of Health Systems Pharmacists, that's CSHP, and past President of the campus-wide UCSF Alumni Association. He is recipient of many awards and honors, including the CSHP Pharmacist of the Year, the CSHP Fellow, the CSHP Distinguished Service Award. He has received an ASHP Research Award, and he has an honorary doctorate from the Tokyo University of Pharmacy and Life Sciences. One of Don's most distinguishing and admirable qualities is his humility. He is a man dedicated to service, a quality I deeply respect. Named the Pharmacy Alumni Association's Distinguished Alumnus in 2017, Dr. Kishi has taught, mentored, and advised many members of this class and hundreds, probably thousands, of UCSF Pharmacy alumni. Don inspires all of us by his unwavering dedication to the profession and to the School of Pharmacy. He may be retired, but I can assure you he remains as dedicated and active as always. Dr. Kishi.
Chancellor Hawgood, Dean Guglielmo, Vice Dean Yeomans, faculty, staff of Osaka, staff of OEIS, family and friends, and most importantly, you, the class of 2020. Congratulations on successfully completing your 4-year path through the best school of pharmacy in the world. But remember that this is just the first step in your journey. I have memories of graduating from UCSF some 52 years ago. This was a time when graduates had career choices of working in an independent community pharmacy, in a pharmacy in the basement of a hospital, or working as a salesperson for a pharmaceutical company. Looking at all the different career choices that exist today, it is amazing how practice has changed. Why has it changed? UCSF, your School of Pharmacy, has had a long history of preparing students for a practice that does not exist at the time of their graduation, but rather for a vision of practice 5 to 10 years into the future. The school's goal has been to graduate pharmacists who will not be satisfied by the practice that exists today, but who will work to change practice to what is needed by their patients, other healthcare providers, and the healthcare system. UCSF is where the 9th floor satellite pharmacy brought the pharmacists out of the basement and into the floors of the hospital. This laid the foundation for clinical pharmacy practice and education across the country, indeed the world. UCSF faculty also spawned the first 2 clinical pharmacy textbooks. The rest is history, as is evidenced by the diversity of the career choices you have today. You are graduating in 2020, a year of multiple crises: COVID-19, shelter in place, global warming, wildfires, social unrest due to long-standing societal and healthcare inequities, and the problems surfaced by the recent election. When I reflect on these crises, I am reminded of the nursery rhyme, Humpty Dumpty. That goes, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men could not put Humpty Dumpty together again. The question for you, the class of 2020, and your colleagues, is whether to put Humpty Dumpty together again, or to take the opportunity to develop a vision of what healthcare, society, and environment should be and begin working toward those visions. Albert Einstein, JFK, and others viewed crises not from a negative or woe is me perspective, but rather from the perspective of that of, in the midst of every crisis lies great opportunity for correcting problems and filling needs. My first message to you is find a need and fill it. Identify the problem, develop potential solutions, pick the best one, implement, and evaluate it. If it accomplishes the goal, disseminate it. If it doesn't work, examine why it did not and pivot. Your school has provided you with some basic tools to start your career. The focus has not been solely on information, since it outdates too quickly, and as you know, there is too much to memorize. Rather, the focus has been to provide you with the knowledge and skills to identify problems, critically analyze them, use evidence-based resources, and apply them to determine what is the best for your specific patient or situation. My second message to you is to commit to lifelong learning, keeping up with new technologies, therapies, and systems. Keep your eyes on the environment and see how you can adapt these new technologies, therapies, and systems to assist you in achieving your goals. Some technologies, therapies, and systems will undoubtedly replace jobs, but they will also result in new needs which will create new jobs. Do not be afraid of new things, but rather think about how you can utilize them to help you do what you do better. My third message is integrate your passion and career. What is your passion, and which career path fits that passion? If one doesn't exist, should there be one? Find a need and fill it. If you can meld your work and passion, work will not be work. Remember also that your passion may change over time. In the CP 155 class, I had alumni come in and talk about their current position and the path they took to get there. For most, at the time of graduation, they had no idea they would end up in their current careers. When an opportunity arose or a need was identified in their interest area, they took a chance. So in the future, if your current position is becoming just a job, start exploring and try to match your passion to a new position or to fill a need. Be flexible and be courageous and take the chance to explore. Find what qualifications you may need and go get them. Be open to change and don't be afraid to try something new. You might experience the imposter syndrome again, but you will ultimately succeed. Let me end with a quote from Nelson Mandela and others. Action without vision is only passing time. Vision without action is merely daydreaming. Vision with action can change the world. You have the tools, with the current crisis, the opportunity to dream and create the vision of new ways to take care of your patients, our society, and our environment. Hopefully you have the courage and perseverance and energy to take actions that will improve our world. In doing so, please adhere to the UCSF Pride values: professionalism, respect, integrity, diversity, excellence. Please reach out, keep in touch, and let me know how you are doing. May the force be with you.
Thank you, Don. We come now to the presentation of the Bowl of Hygiea Award. The Bowl of Hygiea is an internationally recognized symbol for the profession of pharmacy. Its origins are in Greek mythology. Hygiea is the goddess of health. A snake wrapped around a bowl, the bowl represents medicine and the snake indicates potency. Consequently, the Bowl of Hygiea symbolizes pure and potent medicines. In 1966, the faculty and students created the Bowl of Hygiea Award as the highest honor bestowed upon a graduating student. The UCSF Pharmacy Alumni Association sponsors production of this special piece of art. Fittingly, this award was redesigned this year, and the class of 2020 recipient will be the first to receive the Bowl of Hygiea redesigned for a new generation of outstanding awardees. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Greg Smith, President of the UCSF Pharmacy Alumni Association, to say a few words about the Bowl of Hygiea Award and to welcome our newest alumni on behalf of the Alumni Association. A member of the class of 1992, Dr. Smith was recently named Interim Chief Operating Officer for the Northern California Kaiser Pharmacy Program. He has been with Kaiser for more than 15 years in a variety of roles. An alumnus of the School of Pharmacy Leadership Institute, he, prior to joining Kaiser, held a wide range of clinical, sales, and program director roles ranging from pharmaceutical companies, pharmacy benefit management organizations, and medical device companies. He has been a volunteer clinical faculty member at UCSF since 1996. He has served on the Pharmacy Alumni Association Board of Governors since 2014. Dr. Smith is a pharmacy advocate and leader, as well as an enthusiastic and supportive mentor to student pharmacists and alumni. Dr. Smith.
Hello and congratulations to the University of California, San Francisco School of Pharmacy Class of 2020. My name is Greg Smith, and I am the president of the Pharmacy Alumni Association Board of Governors. I would like to recognize the UCSF faculty and the families in attendance that were key in making this accomplishment possible. The Alumni Association exists to support and mentor our students and champion the alumni and faculty of the best school of pharmacy on the planet. Key activities of the PAA also include hosting events at professional conferences, providing financial support to our students, and recognizing distinguished alumni and graduating students. That said, I am here today to briefly speak to you about the Bowl of Hygiea Award. The award is named for Hygiea, the Greek goddess of health, and is recognized as a symbol of the profession of pharmacy. This award has been presented since 1966 and is the highest honor given to graduating students from UCSF by their classmates and the faculty. The honor recognizes the individual who best exemplifies the qualities most desirable in a pharmacist in action, thought, and attitude. Most important of these attributes are leadership, ability, enthusiasm, and dedication, not only as they relate to the profession of pharmacy, but also to humanity in general. I would like to highlight a few names of the current and former board members who received this award. Daniel Furtado, class of 1969, Stuart Akahashi, 1983, Marilyn Stebbins, class of 1988, Virginia Chu, 98, and Crystal Pong in 2011. Lastly, I will say that all candidates being considered for this award from the class of 2020 are truly remarkable, inspiring, and bring great pride to myself and fellow PAA board members. Thank you. Congratulations to the finalists for this award, to all the graduating students today, and have fun.
The recipient of the Bowl of Hygiea is chosen through a 2-round process. In the first round, the class selects the finalists who best exemplify the qualities most desirable in a pharmacist. Leadership, ability, enthusiasm, dedication to the profession and humankind are abundantly evident in all 5 finalists. In the second round of voting, faculty and students ultimately select the final recipient. We will recognize each nominee individually for their achievements and contributions. A plaque with the citation I read this evening will be sent to each nominee. Dr. Kathy Lay. Kathy Lay is lauded by her classmates for her compassion, dedication, and leadership. Her contributions come not from obligation, but from her earnest desire to help others and her innate selflessness and humility. Kathy is a role model in every sense of the word, demonstrating exceptional leadership, superior clinical knowledge, a legendary work ethic, and a constant desire to learn. She embodies traits of motivation, altruism, and care, never hesitating to lend assistance to friends and classmates. Her professional potential and personal leadership have made her an incredible colleague and set the stage for significant accomplishments within the profession. As one classmate says, Kathy has made us better pharmacists. Dr. Lay is currently completing an acute care residency at Santa Clara Valley Medical Center. Dr. Julia Lee. Julia Lee embodies the qualities of an ideal pharmacist in thought, action, and attitude. She is driven by the curiosity to learn and is motivated to teach and share her knowledge with others. Julia constantly models a positive attitude and a desire to serve. She exemplifies the engaged professional through her awareness of issues affecting pharmacists and active involvement with professional associations. Julia brings joy, curiosity, humility, and eagerness to her work, along with the drive to grow, develop, and invest in the profession. A brilliant pharmacy student with the creativity and drive to look outside the box, Julia is well poised to push the pharmacy profession forward in the years ahead. Dr. Lee is currently a pharmacy practice resident at the University of Utah Pharmacy Services Residency Program. Dr. Allison Wen. Allison Wen exemplifies the qualities of an exceptional pharmacist and is, in the words of her classmates, a wonderful human being. She is selfless, hardworking, and optimistic, incredibly intelligent yet humble. Allison uses her strengths and skills to give back to others, treating everyone with kindness, respect, thoughtfulness, and an eagerness to engage. Despite the demands of pharmacy school, she always carved out time to assist her peers through tutoring, review sessions, and study guides. Allison is a patient and energetic teacher, and her passion for learning characterizes her approach to pharmacy practice. Allison will no doubt flourish as a dedicated, compassionate pharmacist who represents the highest standards of a UCSF PharmD. This year, Dr. Wen is a pediatric resident at Children's Hospital of Orange County. Dr. Jonathan Wen. Jonathan Wen's professionalism, inquisitive nature, and drive have distinguished his contributions to his class and to patients. A natural leader, Jonathan brings people together. He demonstrates a high level of empathy for patients, regard for the interprofessional team, and dedication to making thoughtful and thorough clinical recommendations. Jonathan's strong work ethic, combined with his enthusiasm for teaching and skill in understanding the needs of others, enable him to make meaningful contributions to patients and colleagues alike. Always dedicated, precise, self-reflective, and professional, Jonathan is certain to make a difference in patient care and within the profession in the years ahead. Dr. Wen is currently completing a pharmacy practice residency at UCSF. Dr. Stephanie Sin. Kind, brilliant, motivated, curious. Stephanie Sin is an exemplary pharmacist. She is a lifelong learner who seizes every opportunity to expand her knowledge in order to provide optimal care for her patients. Stephanie is dedicated to helping others and always goes the extra mile when counseling a patient, collaborating with her team, or contributing to processes to improve patient care. A humble leader who is always willing to lend a hand, Stephanie exudes kindness. Stephanie was a role model within the class and will no doubt continue to inspire countless patients and colleagues through her commitment to excellence in all aspects of her work. Dr. Sin is also at UCSF completing a pharmacy practice residency. Please appreciate, while only one person will receive the Bowl of Hygiea Award, it is the highest of honors to be among the finalists, particularly since your classmates are the ones who honored you. This is an outstanding slate of nominees. I extend my congratulations and my admiration to each of you. In the eyes of your classmates and the faculty, the 5 of you are the best student pharmacists in the nation, actually in the world. The moment has come to reveal this year's awardee. I am pleased to announce that the 2020 recipient of the Bowl of Hygiea Award is Dr. Kathy Lay. Kathy, the Bowl of Hygiea will soon be on its way to you. My congratulations to you, Dr. Lay, and to all the class of 2020 nominees. The class of 2020 asked that one member of the faculty speak as part of this evening's ceremony, and Dr. Conor McDougall has been selected for this honor. Dr. McDougall is a professor of clinical pharmacy and an expert in infectious diseases. He graduated from UCSF in 2002, and he is also a Bowl of Hygiea awardee. After completing a pharmacy practice residency, he completed an infectious diseases specialty residency and a fellowship, while then going on to a master's in clinical research. Author of numerous journal articles, book chapters, and a book, Dr. McDougall's great passion rests in his commitment to teaching. To say that Dr. McDougall is appreciated by students is an understatement. Each year, students in our program honor outstanding teaching through awards sponsored by the J.M. Long Foundation. Dr. McDougall has won this award 14 times. He has also received the UCSF Academic Senate Campus Award for Distinction in Teaching, and he's a member of the UCSF School of Medicine Academy of Medical Educators. The class had the following to say about Dr. McDougall. His dedication to teaching and complete mastery of infectious disease topics helped us better understand challenging concepts and made learning ID much more enjoyable. Conan's lively personality created an engaging classroom environment that encouraged students to participate and ask questions. We are thankful for your commitment to your students and constant drive to create new and innovative teaching methods. Dr. McDougall.
Before we begin, a technical note. In order to provide you with the remote experience that you're used to, I will be speaking at 1.5 speed during my presentation. Welcome, graduates, friends, and family, to the virtual graduation ceremony. You know what? It's possible there are friends and family watching who aren't used to that, so I'll let you decide whether or not to speed it up on your end. Okay. Welcome, graduates, family, and friends. My name is Conan McDougall, and I'm a professor in the School of Pharmacy and a practicing pharmacist in the area of infectious diseases. Because of the latter, of course, I expect the time allotted to my coursework and my salary to double in the next year. I wasn't given a lot of guidance on this talk, with the sole exception that I should avoid using the word unprecedented, as 87% of all graduation speeches this year have included that term. I can see that I've already managed to screw that up. Well, I wasn't going to use that term anyway, because what we've lived through this year has been unique in its particulars, but catastrophe has always been a part of the human condition. Plague, war, famine, our species has seen it all before. John Gardner wrote in one of my favorite essays, "Nothing is ever finally safe. Every important battle is fought and refought. You may wonder if such a struggle isn't more than humans can bear, but all of history suggests the human spirit is well fitted to cope with just this kind of world. The difference with our particular struggle right now is that the whole world is going through the ringer all at once, and all together." I personally don't ascribe to the idea that everything happens for a reason, but I do believe that adversity can show things that were previously hidden. Paraphrasing the poet Khalil Gibran in The Prophet, "All these things shall life do unto you, so that you may know the secrets of your heart." A more modern version might be, "How much you know about yourself if you've never been in a fight before?" Although I'm told, much to my dismay, that the window for Fight Club quotes is rapidly closing. I would guess that living through this pandemic has taught you things you didn't know about yourself. I'm sure many of them are great things and offer you glimpses of future prospects you didn't know you had. Others are perhaps things you'll want to work on to become a more complete person. One thing we have learned about our profession is that pharmacists are up to the challenge. They joined the fight against COVID at the very beginning. Did you know that the lead author of the initial report of the government's response to what was then an unnamed novel coronavirus, something published in the CDC's Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report, was a pharmacist? It's true. And every step of the way, pharmacists have helped lead the response, applying the same tools you began to develop during your time in pharmacy school. They've been there at the very highest levels, serving on the treatment guideline panels at the National Institute of Health and the Infectious Disease Society of America, using the same concepts of study design and evaluation, statistics, that you've been flogged with in a million journal clubs, in order to help assess the ever-changing evidence and to contribute to recommendations that are followed the world over. Wonder about the application of that ethics coursework you had? How about serving on committees that choose how to allocate the limited quantities of potentially life-saving medicines and soon vaccines? Economics? Spend your hospital budget on remdesivir or monoclonal antibodies. Immunology? Do you choose to fight or ride out the cytokine storm? Anatomy? What happens when you flip a patient over to improve their ventilation? Drug development? Investigational use, compassionate use, emergency use, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. These are all terms that you have learned and now you need to help interpret for your patients and for other healthcare providers. Most importantly, pharmacists have been right there at the front lines in a million different ways, large and small. To me, this one picture, showing a pharmacist devising a novel setup to deliver medications to critically ill patients while reducing staff exposure, perfectly captures the nexus of clinical expertise, practical application, and teamwork that we think is the ideal of what a pharmacist can do, and shows the types of creative problem solving we know all of you are prepared to bring to bear on this and future problems that the world will encounter. Going forward, pharmacists will help to bring this pandemic from a raging global inferno to a dwindling smolder, through the administration of vaccines developed with miraculous speed and efficacy. If you and those pharmacists before you had not forcefully advocated for the role of pharmacists as immunizers, often in the face of great resistance, the nation would not have an army of pharmacists at the ready to bring the vaccine to the communities who need it. Pharmacists have been and will continue to be indispensable. Sorry, I couldn't help one last pharmacist joke. But that is the profession that you've entered, and as a result of your hard work, dedication, and the support from your friends and family. One that has risen to this unprecedented, enormous challenge that we face as a planet. Congratulations, class of 2020. Best wishes, and remember, always provide your references.
Thank you, Dr. McDougall. Now we've come to the main event, the primary reason we have all gathered here this evening, conferring of the Doctor of Pharmacy degree on the members of the class of 2020. This honor appropriately falls upon our Chancellor, Dr. Sam Hawgood. Dr. Hawgood completed his medical training at the University of Queensland in Brisbane and trained as a resident in pediatrics. His clinical and research interests center upon respiratory distress syndrome, a major cause of newborn morbidity and mortality. He has served in almost every capacity in his 37-year UCSF tenure, now as the 10th UCSF Chancellor. His professional affiliations and honors are many. While I could detail his impressive curriculum vitae, it is his values that I most appreciate. His genuine care for this campus, the consistency of his approach, and his remarkable vision have marked his chancellorship. We are fortunate to have him. It is my great pleasure to introduce Chancellor Sam Hawgood.
Hello, I'm Sam Hawgood, Chancellor at UCSF. It goes without saying that we are living in a challenging time. With the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, the routine of our daily lives was upended, and your UCSF experience was transformed almost overnight. On behalf of my entire UCSF leadership team, including Dean Guglielmo, we appreciate your responsiveness and resiliency during this unprecedented year. We are happy to finally celebrate your achievements during this postponed commencement today. I am so proud of all of us at UCSF, our frontline healthcare workers, scientists, educators, staff, and you, our learners, for rising to the occasion during this public health crisis. Thanks to the leadership of our deans, the School of Pharmacy quickly pivoted to online learning, transforming and adapting to rapidly changing circumstances in response to public health guidance. We so appreciate your flexibility this year as we refined our policies and procedures. Through it all, you have shown strength and solidarity, supporting our community by stepping up early to collect and distribute much-needed PPE. At times like these, it is our values and our shared purpose that has empowered us to respond speedily and selflessly to the needs of our patients and the communities we serve. Throughout our collective response to the pandemic, the racial injustices across healthcare, our economy, and society became even more glaringly apparent as the virus spread. And you reminded us that it is not enough to react to the growing civil unrest in the world around us, we must lead, learn, and look inward as individuals and as institutions. Through our anti-racism initiative, we are committed to reflect upon our own practices and to recognize our weaknesses and biases, and then to strive to remove the policies and practices that perpetuate inequality and exclusion. As we look towards our future, I encourage you to remember this year, not as a period of hardship and heartache, but of the opportunities that we seized together in our relentless pursuit to evolve, innovate, and improve. The resolve and resilience that you have all shown in 2020 has been itself an extraordinary lesson that I hope will help see you through in life. The great Nelson Mandela once said, and I quote, "Many things seem impossible until they are done." Today, what once might have seemed impossible to you is now done. Each one of you has become a pharmacist, a tremendous achievement and responsibility. Please practice what you've learned to improve health and wellness in your communities. Our goal at UCSF has been to train you for a lifetime of caring, learning, and discovering ways to make our world a better place. Now more than ever, you can make a difference, and we trust you are prepared for the challenges and opportunities you will encounter ahead. You, in turn, leave us your legacy, a university that has been enriched by your talent and time with us. I thank each of you for your passion, your spirit, and your hard work, all of which make up the diverse fabric of UCSF. You are graduating in a time of phenomenal change. Now more than ever, we must commit ourselves to constantly aim to develop personalized treatments, therapies, and even cures to some of the world's deadliest diseases, including the novel coronavirus. And we also must innovate and iterate new models and methods of care to meet new expectations from the public and our patients around healthcare costs, quality, and delivery. As pharmacists, you are poised to assume important roles in addressing these challenges. It is hard to predict where these waves of change will take us, but what we do know is that our future is in your hands, and I look forward with anticipation to watching you define the future of pharmacy. So by the authority vested in me by the Regents of the University of California, I hereby confer upon you the degree Doctor of Pharmacy. Congratulations to you all.
As the final step in the ceremonial transition from student to UCSF alumnus, graduates receive their doctoral hoods. Graduates have been invited to have a special person place their hood when their name is called. Presenting the class of 2020 this evening is Vice Dean Sharon Yeomans, who was a member of the class of 1985, went on to get a master's in public health from San Jose State University. She joined our faculty in 2001, serving as Vice Chair for Education in the Department of Clinical Pharmacy from 2007 to 2013, at that time of which she assumed the role of Vice Dean. She is focused on continuous improvement of pharmacy education and working collaboratively with other UCSF education programs. Her research interests include health literacy, health communication, including culturally sensitive communication strategies to enhance medication compliance. She has provided pharmacy services to San Francisco residents through Glide Health Services, which focuses on homeless and uninsured patients. Dr. Yeomans is a member of the Haile T. DeBoss Academy of Medical Educators. She recently joined the board of directors of the Accreditation Council for Pharmacy Education, where she represents the American Association of Colleges of Pharmacy. I could tell you much more about her, but for now, I add she is a warm, generous, and inspiring leader, mentor, and colleague to students and faculty alike. Dr. Yeomans, please present the Doctor of Pharmacy graduates in the class of 2020.
Dr. Hugo Aguilar. Dr. Justin Allen. Dr. Kate Areola. Dr. Laurene Atala. Dr. Jeremy Aviado. Dr. Laura Barsumian. Dr. Michelle Breckschneider. Dr. Marie Angelica Sanchez Kayabyab. Dr. Allison Chen. Dr. Francis Chen. Dr. Catherine Ann Chen. Dr. Brandon Chan. Dr. Min Koo Choi. Dr. Annette Yenping Chu. Dr. Lauren Klein. Dr. Timothy Doe. Dr. Taryn Go. Dr. Heather Goosen. Dr. Rachel Gordon. Dr. Tiffany Guan. Dr. Jasper Hai. Dr. Amanda Marie Hanks. Dr. Cameron Heshmati. Dr. Ven Ho. Dr. Allison Rachel Hom. Dr. Emily Su. Dr. Beatrice Huang. Dr. Henry Huang. Dr. Cindy Luong Huyen. Dr. Christine Ann Janisho Ignacio. Dr. Nisha Iyer. Dr. Edward Giergian. Dr. Jennifer Kaiser. Dr. Connie Kang. Dr. Eileen Kim. Dr. Alicia King. Dr. Andrea King. Dr. Melissa Kobayakawa. Dr. Ivan Kozanchenko. Dr. Ashneel Ashish Krishna. Dr. Amanda La. Dr. Lynn Lamb. Dr. Tommy Lamb. Dr. Daryl Sarr. Dr. Megan Lau. Dr. Kathy Lay. Dr. Denise Lee. Dr. Grace Lee. Dr. Julia Susan Lee. Dr. Michelle Lee. Dr. Say Lee. Dr. Thomas Hei Tong Leong. Dr. Jessica Lee. Dr. Mia Lim. Dr. Anthony Louis. Dr. Colleen McCann. Dr. Dalia Movavati. Dr. Shirley Ng. Dr. Taryn Ng. Dr. Jessica Lay No. Dr. Kennedy No Tran. Dr. Allison Nguyen. Dr. Andy Nguyen. Dr. Cindy Nguyen. Dr. Derek Nguyen. Dr. Erica Nguyen. Dr. Jonathan Nguyen. Dr. Julie Thuyen Nguyen. Dr. Katie Nguyen. Dr. J.C. Nishiguchi. Dr. Christopher Ong. Dr. Carol Jeline O. Dr. Stephanie Pang. Dr. Samia Pupneja. Dr. Tae Jin Park. Dr. Karan Patel. Dr. Bin Pham. Dr. Sally Tooney Pham. Dr. Neela Sarah Rafija. Dr. Sanam Rashidi. Dr. Jacob Robertson. Dr. Bianca Rojo. Dr. Carolina Ryklansky. Dr. Kevin Sam. Dr. Navkaran Sandhu. Dr. Stephanie Sieve. Dr. Jeffrey Schaefer. Dr. Madia Shah. Dr. Dana Viola Shepard. Dr. Jennifer Shea. Dr. Praveen Shukla. Dr. Justin Sims. Dr. Stephanie Sin. Dr. Alicia Suarez. Dr. Kelly Stansick. Dr. Victoria Sue. Dr. Nee Ta. Dr. Richard Ta. Dr. Husna Tabataba Ifar. Dr. Denise Tan. Dr. Carolyn Tang. Dr. Rosalind Kate Tom. Dr. Ivy Tran. Dr. Justin Trong. Dr. Meki Usui. Dr. Kim Vo. Dr. Alicia Vora. Dr. Lisa Vaughn. Dr. Jenny Wen. Dr. Christina Wong. Dr. Yua Xiong. Dr. Sheng Kishi. Dr. Ashley Yam. Dr. Wendy Ann Yamasaki. Dr. Albert Yang. Dr. Esther Yang. Dr. Victoria Yi. Dr. Sunwoo Yu. Dr. Mindy Yan. Dr. Sharon Zong. Dr. Jenny Zhao.
Class of 2020, at your white coat ceremony nearly 4 years ago, you took the oath of a pharmacist. In doing so, you affirmed your transition from layperson to student pharmacist. This evening marks another significant transition and an appropriate time to reaffirm your oath. I have asked Dr. Don Kishi to lead the class of 2020 in the oath of a pharmacist. As you enter the ranks of our alumni family, it seems only fitting that Dr. Kishi, your commencement speaker and an alumnus recognized for his extraordinary contributions to the profession, lead you in this oath. I ask you to consider one passage in particular as you listen to Dr. Kishi. I promise to devote myself to a lifetime of service to others through the profession of pharmacy. There is certainly no one who exemplifies this more. Class of 2020, along with your classmates, please stand to recite the oath following Dr. Kishi.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I promise to devote myself
I promise to devote myself
to a lifetime of service to others
to a lifetime of service to others
through the profession of pharmacy.
Through the profession of pharmacy.
In fulfilling this vow, I will consider the welfare of humanity
I will consider the welfare of humanity
and relief of suffering my primary concerns. I will apply my knowledge, experience, and skills
I will apply my knowledge, experience, and skills
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
to assure optimal outcomes for my patients.
To ensure optimal outcomes for my patients.
I will respect and protect all personal and health information entrusted to me. I will accept the lifelong obligation to improve my professional knowledge and competence. I will hold myself and my colleagues to the highest principles of our profession's moral, ethical, and legal conduct. I will embrace and advocate changes that improve patient care. I will utilize my knowledge, skills, and experiences and values to prepare the next generation of pharmacists. I take these vows voluntarily with the full realization of the responsibility with which I am entrusted.
Of the responsibility with which I am entrusted.
By the public.
By the public.
Class of 2020. These past 4 years have revealed a notable gap in healthcare, specifically the consistent lack of an accurate, up-to-date medication list and the absence of a regular review of this list for appropriateness. We reinforced that it is your profession's unique role to fill this gap, ensuring patients receive the safest, most effective, and least costly medication therapy. However, as I mentioned earlier, another gap has emerged and continually widened over the time of your education. That gap centers upon lack of respect for others, particularly for those whose opinions differ from yours. Over these years, you have learned and committed to our pride values. For those attending this ceremony, the P in pride stands for professionalism, the R is respect, I, integrity, D, diversity, and E, excellence. No one is better equipped to fill these 2 gaps than the empathetic, respectful Class of 2020. Class of 2020, please commit to assuming these critical responsibilities today and for the rest of your lives. Family, friends, faculty, and students, I proudly present the Class of 2020, the nation's, no, the world's, newest and finest doctors of pharmacy. We have now come to the end of the 2020 commencement ceremony. I wish you all a wonderful evening and a year ahead, filled with great joy, pride, and love. We will conclude this evening ceremony with a greeting card of sorts from the students, faculty, staff, and alumni who join me in congratulating the distinguished class of 2020.